Now, like I said, we are going to be talking about body positivity versus body toxicity, social media versus reality. And body positivity, especially, that is a term that is being used a lot
Yeah.
nowadays. People are wanting to really get into body positivity, but I'm not sure everybody really knows what it is. So,
Mm-hmm.
why don't you explain what body positivity
So body positivity just means that you accept, people at different sizes, either small to big to large, and there's no negative connotation about, who they are or what they're worth when it comes to their body size. So for you, I know that you're more about, more into the bigger size and like obese, and that's what this podcast name is the Fat Girl Life. But for me, I might have a little bit more, anxious or anxiety about my height because I'm pretty short. And so it's so that when it comes to body positivity, that means you accept everyone and you don't judge the person based on their appearance or how they look.
And see, I absolutely love this, and it took me a really long time to get to a point of accepting different body types, and it wasn't that I was judging others as much
Hmm.
as I judged myself,
Yes.
and that is a huge struggle, and that's a lot of where body toxicity comes
Hmm.
into play. Is it's not so much the judgment of others, which does that is toxic, but
Hmm.
it's the judgment of yourself and
Right.
that feeling of inadequacy, you know, devaluation.
Mm-hmm.
All of those come into play with body toxicity. And that's part of why we're going to be talking about social media versus reality as well, because
Oh
everything is
gosh.
social media. We have the perfect pictures on Instagram, the Insta model.
Yeah.
We have TikTok, which TikTok, I think, is swayed a slightly different way. But even Facebook, social media is where our lives are at.
Hmm. Yes.
You know,
Absolutely.
how much time do you spend on social media daily?
I'd say personally for myself, especially for my business, because I do my online business, it's probably 3 hours a day.
Oh, and see, I'm thinking about myself. I'm like, geez, okay, I've got my Facebook, I've got my
Oh.
Instagram, I've
Mm,
got Snapchat, I've got
wow.
TikTok.
Yeah.
I probably spend, because I do this online,
Right.
it all streams online, goes to YouTube, goes to all of those.
Mhm.
So between the varying platforms, I'm going to be honest and, don't judge.
Oh.
I probably spend 8 hours a day
Mm.
on social media between guest recruitment, research, and everything else.
Mhm.
That is a third of a full day.
Yeah.
And if you consider you should be getting 8 hours of sleep, that's 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of social media, work
Mhm.
related, whatever.
Yeah.
That leaves me 8 hours to, you know, do any self care whatsoever,
Yeah. Do everything
prepare
else.
meals. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Mhm.
And then you think of how much am I taking in from social media during
Oh,
all of that?
yeah.
And I have gotten myself to a point where my feeds are very curated,
Mm.
and that took work. But let's look at like some of the younger females,
Mhm.
high school age and young college age,
Mhm.
and what they're taking in on social media.
Yeah. They probably their whole life, every day. No, I wouldn't be surprised if they spent as much or more time on social media like you. But the thing is, you do this as more of a job. You have a show to run. This is what you do. But for them, the time they spend isn't just, trying to reach out to people, doing more productive things that,
Mhm.
just the power of social media gives us. And we want to use it. We're able to connect more than ever before. Like you and me wouldn't be able to meet without social media,
Right.
right? And so we're like both of us use it for more productive things. But when we think about younger people, like you said, like, high school, college age, or even middle school, they're doing it to more to, like as a sort of example to live up to rather than,
Mhm.
a tool like us that we use to our benefits.
Exactly. And that's exactly kind of where I was headed with that of,
Mhm.
let's take it, just a quick, example of what those feeds are curated like. Because, I'm in my mid 40s. Put it out there. End of this month I'll be 46. I've learned how to curate my feed. I
Yeah.
know what I do and do not want to see and what is healthy
Mhm.
mentally for me to see and not to
Mhm.
see. I know where my triggers are. But if you take a 20-year-old, they don't always know. I'm
Uh-huh.
not going to say they never know because, never is not a good term to use when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But primarily, they may not be realizing what they're taking in.
Mhm.
And that can be detrimental. That
Yes.
can destroy you,
Mhm.
not realizing, and that's where that reality versus social media comes into play.
Yeah.
And I really wish I had actually looked up a statistic on it.
Oh,
And you might know how many pictures do you think are probably Photoshopped?
I think for at least adults, the statistics that I found is about I think 60 something percent of us adults edit our pictures. So it's because kids they cannot be included in studies for
Right.
privacy purposes, so they only do more adults, and that's huge. Even with us, like people
Mhm.
our age or even up, there we always edit it. It's not Photoshop, so when it comes to editing, it's not like like
Filter.
making yourself super thin or whatever. But we always like editing out skin texture, like you see some of mine here,
Oh,
or the little pores, all that stuff. So we edit all of that, or even we have Facetune nowadays, so you see my face like this, and then you can just thin it out, like just delete all of this. You can do
mhm.
all of that, and now with video filters, you can do videos that looks completely different from who you really are, and yeah, and
That's
even
crazy.
and the thing is, just earlier, last year actually, Instagram and Facebook were under fire for, teens and kids. Like about 6% of teen from Britain had suicidal thoughts because of Instagram or Facebook, whichever one that they use. And
Mm.
4%, I think, in America as well. So it's not, it's affecting us. Like the kids just basically, going online using Instagram per se, because Instagram is more popular with, younger people, and then just
Mhm.
comparing themselves to things. And, they got the wrong idea of how a healthy body looks like. For example, so I'm in a Facebook group for fitness, a lot of for Asian fitness. And one of the questions today we had, and it exploded in the community, is that how do you build your booty without having bigger legs? And if you're a fitness like me and a lot of people chime in, it's impossible to do that because if you have bigger booties, what's gonna support them?
Yeah, you've got to build up those thighs.
Yeah, it's normal. It's basically our normal body, and what you see either one angles from social media, they do great, or two, those people are more genetically lucky than us that they have that kind of distribution of fat and
Mhm.
muscles that make them look better than we do. But normally, like the majority of us there is no way that you can just build that booties and expect your legs to be as thin as like some chopsticks, you know? And
right?
that's the thing. Like the people there, they didn't know. Like people were asking and they didn't believe and all this like, oh my god, I need that secret. And the thing is, is it
It's not a
impossible?
secret.
There's
It's
no
not a
secret.
secret. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Well, and one thing I've noticed social media wise, um, with TikTok,
Mhm.
there are a lot of people, at least on my feed now, your feed changes constantly. You know, that For You page is
Mm,
based off of what you like, what you
mm,
don't like, videos you watch longer time frames as.
mhm.
But I have noticed on my feed a lot more vulnerability
Mm.
happens on TikTok than any other platform
Wow.
because you have the people that, especially in the plus size community, are putting themselves out there and saying, hey, you know what? This is what I look like.
Mhm.
And I don't need your approval. This, and one thing I love about TikTok is you have food talk, you have fat talk, you have,
Mhm.
different genres of TikTok.
Mhm.
And so I am on fat talk, freely admit that.
Mhm.
But one of the big things was, especially as plus size women, of being in a bikini.
Mm.
And not even gonna lie, TikTok is the reason I did it.
That's powerful. Like just having that feeling of, somebody out there feeling the same way that you do.
Yeah.
And that
And
I mean, AI itself is another kind of topic, how powerful it is to show us the things that we want to see. And for you, you know what you want to see.
hmm
Those kind of things serves you. But it's gonna be, a double-edged sword. Because what if the kids thought that they want to see more fit stuff, more, Fitspo people like very thin or modeling people, they're
hmm
gonna see more of that on their feed.
exactly. And one thing that we really need to take into consideration when we are curating our feed
Mhm.
is that focus of reality. Because if you are constantly building your feed of the dream, of the ideal, that can tear apart your confidence
Mhm.
because it becomes almost unattainable.
Yeah. I mean, it is unattainable. Like the top, like the example I give you it is unattainable. It's 100% unattainable, and it's just very hard because with social media, especially, the more shocking things that you make like content, the more that it spreads. So, we're
Mhm.
talking about things like this, like, oh yes, this is what happening, but it doesn't make a good TikTok video. Like we just like, yeah, we acknowledge that. It's a double-edged sword, but how like we're not a whole lot of people who can like make those and think like, okay, like this is it. Like you can reach into um, to like the teens because they're like really, really into the the toxicity part of
Yeah.
social media. Like unfortunately that because they're always trying to be the cool person in the group and not whoever being left out.
Well, I think that's where it really becomes kind of the responsibility of creators.
Hmm.
If you are making a video on Facebook, making a video on Instagram, making a video on TikTok, even if you're not getting paid for it, if you put a video out there, you are a creator.
Right.
So it becomes the responsibility of the creators to really think about the message that they are putting forth,
Hmm.
and making sure that they're not setting an unattainable standard,
Yeah. And
which may mean make yourself a little bit vulnerable,
hmm
show some reality of your life because
hmm
it's not all roses.
yeah, but they don't bring in likes.
I think you'd be surprised. I think
Yeah.
you would be surprised because, putting myself out there, the first video I ever did on TikTok
Mhm.
was a little dance.
Okay.
I don't dance. I don't do choreography. No, that is not me. But I
Mhm.
did it. I lost a bet and I did it.
Okay.
That video actually went viral. It got
Mm.
12,000 likes.
Wow.
Never in a million years
Mm.
did I think that that was going to be what went viral.
Was
I
it your
thought
very
something,
first video?
yeah,
Was
my very first video.
So that's one of the thing with TikTok. Your first or a couple first are gonna be very viral. It's their
But,
algorithm, I would say.
I've noticed though, like the videos that I do that I think,
Mhm.
I'm putting out this inspirational message and I've got the makeup done. I've done the work.
Right, and it doesn't go anywhere.
Those do not get near the views or
Mhm.
likes or comments as the ones like I did one the other last week
Mhm.
with my oxygen on
Right.
and no makeup. I looked like crap,
Mhm.
but it got comments of hey, I know you're struggling right now, but you're doing great. Blah blah blah.
Mhm.
Those are the ones that when I am at my realist
Mhm.
and I'm showing the fact that what I am riding that struggle bus today.
Okay.
That's where I feel like I have made the most impact
Very
is
good.
by reaching out to others who are riding that same struggle bus. Because that struggle
Mhm.
bus is a real thing.
It is. Like, I have been obese myself, and I do know that feeling, and, it's I mean, TikTok by itself, I don't trust or use TikTok, to be honest. I do have an account, but it is not active at all. Um, because I feel, a little bit put off by their algorithm of how accurate they are at predicting what I like and, what I want to see, even though, I was starting
Hmm.
out like just 30 minutes kind of thing. So I would say I don't like to use TikTok, but I can see that it does bring positive impact to a lot of people. And that impact is bleeding out to other social media channels as well. And so we see it on
Hmm.
YouTube, we see it on Facebook and Instagram nowadays. Where a lot of people, actually in the fitness industry, I would say, we're moving away from, the weight loss, like just the weight, the number on the scale,
Hmm.
thing, but there is still that toxicity because when you're moving away, because like yourself, you're being real, you're being honest. That is amazing. But a lot of people, what they do, like, oh, they'll be like, oh, the numbers on the scale that isn't important. But here are a couple of things that you can do to look better. Like, is there still some toxicity? Even though we're trying to move away, like, I'm glad that we're doing that because I got fit now. Like, I am fit now. But at some point, like about 7 years ago, I was obese. I would say, like, it's not morbidly obese, it wasn't, but it was still obese, and I felt like crap because it was all about, not eating food, you need to not exclude this food, like, one of the things that stuck with me and made me want to do and be a
Hmm.
fitness coach is, the advice of people saying, "If you wanna get thin, you have to stop eating white rice." And, I'm an Asian person, if you don't see it from my name or my face. That is impossible to do. That is toxicity, and we are moving away from it, but then we're moving to things like Noom of, okay, you need to purchase our subscriptions or,
Hmm.
this particular diet that you need to follow to the T's, all these shakes, replacement meals. And so we're going, it's becoming a different kind of monster that
Hmm.
we're never get to see before. We're so used to, like all of the fat jokes and the numbers jokes, like even though they're not funny, used to. We know they're coming. But now with all of this, like these kind of new advertising, how do you just, differentiate between a person like yourself being real to people, talking to them versus somebody else who were trying to use that there's still, that insecure part in their life to talk to them and
Mhm.
trying to scan from them.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I think we see that everywhere,
Mhm,
unfortunately.
mhm,
And it really becomes a matter of trying to discern through all of it.
yeah,
And I think I have gotten to a point where if looking at a picture,
mhm,
if listening to a certain person speak,
mhm,
if watching a video, if it makes you feel internally unworthy,
mm,
if it makes you question your worth in any way, shape, and or form, if it makes you feel less than,
mm,
then it is not the right message for you to hear. Now, it may be a great message for somebody else,
mhm,
but that is the point where I have gotten to, and it did not happen overnight. I have not arrived by any far stretch. I still have moments where I struggle. In fact, I just opened up to my husband yesterday about some issues where I was struggling,
mhm,
that I knew I was going to have to start tackling.
mm,
But that's kind of where I'm drawing that line.
mhm,
And we get to a point where we can start setting boundaries with others, but we have to set boundaries within ourselves as well. And that's what I recommend is, and I even, tell anybody who's a potential client or anything is if you are hearing something or reading something or seeing something and you start feeling less than because of it, cut it out. Turn it off, turn the page, whatever.
amazing.
Because no message, there should never be a healthy message that makes you feel that way.
Yeah. I'd say, that's exactly what I, tell because I used to teach kids. That's what exactly I tell them to do either in real life when they, trying to find that cool friends to stick with or,
Hmm.
on social media because yes, I mean, you have to, listen and keep listening to um and listening out to sort of, you know, does it serve me? Is it helping me or is it trying to do something else? And then like you said, you just throw the book away and
Yep.
just burned it basically. And that's a great message and we should flip it. Like I'm gonna use it more often.
Feel
When it's
free.
go on live, I'll just cut it out and then use it myself.
Well, and I'm going to issue a challenge. I love issuing challenges.
Mhm,
So part of what we talked about today was filter, living
mhm,
that filtered social media life. I want to see unfiltered pictures.
mm,
So I am going to challenge anybody who sees this, who hears the audio version of it, whenever you do that,
mhm,
post an unfiltered picture. No Facebook filters, no Snapchat filters, no filter whatsoever. Because I want to see the beauty that is you, 100% you. So that is my challenge to everybody. And I will be doing this tonight. I will be posting an unfiltered picture that will go on my Facebook and my Instagram both. Hashtag unfiltered me. So that I'm actually going to put that hashtag in the comments.
mm,
That is the hashtag that I want to see.
mhm.
So if I would love to have everybody participate in this as much as is possible. Hashtag unfiltered me, post an unfiltered picture. Fung, I want to thank you so much for coming on and having this conversation with me. I think it was incredibly important. I am going to encourage everybody go check out her Instagram. Where can they find you on Instagram?
Oh, you can find me on Instagram at be active is easy. And the grammar is wrong, but somebody else took that other name, so I just make it wrong. So be active is easy because that's what I do. Like exercise is easy. You can build that confidence in yourself and still love to exercise. They don't have to be, exclusive to one another. And that's what I do. And you can also find my website at beactiveiseasy.com, where I post a lot of blogs. So I like to write more than Instagram, to be honest. And I write very in-depth blogs on different topics of who we are, what we do, and then a couple of maybe popular questions that you might have. And that's pretty much it. That's how you can contact me either on Instagram or on my website.
Love it. So be active is easy. You guys go search it out, follow her, connect. She's a wonderful lady. I highly recommend. 10
Thank
out of
you.
10 would recommend.